Are American gun owners quietly preparing for something massive? We are well into the second half of 2024, and while many of us are desperately just hoping for a quiet end to the year without any more major global or domestic chaos, the firearms market is telling a completely different story. People are not just buying guns, they are stockpiling very specific types of firearms at an unprecedented historic rate. If you look closely at the best-selling guns in the United States right now, a truly shocking trend emerges. Aren't you curious about exactly what your fellow American gun enthusiasts are locking away in their safes these days? These massive sales figures reveal exactly where the modern tactical and hunting market is heading, and honestly, some of the top-tier picks are going to absolutely blow your mind. Today, we are going to dive incredibly deep into the most purchased guns in the United States, breaking down exactly why these specific models are flying off the shelves at local gun stores nationwide. Kicking things off, we have the Henry Repeating Arms Big Boy rifles, which are currently dominating as some of the most bought lever action guns in the entire US market. Honestly, it is not actually that surprising from an objective standpoint that these rifles are topping the charts, considering they have been selling incredibly well ever since they first hit the market years ago. These classic lever action rifles are readily available in a wide variety of different configurations, but the hard sales data shows that the standard classic model is the undisputed king among all the big boys. This specific classic variant is a sturdy 8.7-pound rifle featuring a 20-inch barrel, beautifully chambered in the powerful 41 Remington Magnum, and it boasts a highly capable standard 10-round capacity. But the impressive sales certainly do not stop there. It is also well worth noting that the significantly more premium expensive models are capturing a massive chunk of those overall sales figures. Specifically, the 44 Remington Magnum Silver Deluxe engraved model and the highly versatile 357 Magnum all-weather models are exceptionally sought after by modern shooters. Subjectively speaking, these two variations are seriously phenomenal firearms, especially the all-weather variant. The all-weather model features an incredibly durable hard chrome plated barrel seamlessly paired with a tough industrial hard chrome satin receiver. Objectively, this heavy-duty coating makes it a rugged, relentless hunting rifle that can easily withstand extensive field use and the absolute harshest of environmental elements without rusting. When you factor in its exemplary mechanical accuracy and the stunning terminal stopping power generated by that 20-inch barrel, which perfectly maximizes the ballistic performance of a standard 357 Magnum, cartridge, a massive hype, makes complete sense. The core reason why the big boy rifles sell so consistently well is actually pretty straightforward and hardly requires a complex explanation. In a nutshell, they are simply terrific, deeply satisfying shooting rifles. While they are certainly not particularly cheap, usually sitting around a retail price of $900 to $1,100 for the standard base models, their premium build quality more than justifies the absurd, hefty price tag. These guns are rugged and gorgeous enough that you can confidently pass them down as cherished family heirlooms. Their lever action is truly buttery smooth, and despite the undeniable fact that they are generally quite heavy to carry all day, they remain phenomenally great for extended field use. You can always double down on their inherent accuracy and mechanical reliability, which is a definitive telltale sign that their real-world value is truly much more than their sticker prices suggest. Moving on to something that brings a profound touch of legendary status to our list, we have the iconic Colt Python. But the specific gun I am going to feature here is not the vintage original Python from decades past, but instead it is the completely revamped, highly modernized new version which was proudly introduced to the market sometime in 2020. For many long years, there was a massive, highly vocal demand for Colt to finally bring back its legendary lineup of snake guns. So the manufacturer smartly banked on that high demand and finally gave dedicated wheel gun lovers exactly what they had been begging for. Now, let me stop you right there. If you are one of those strict purists who want to say that absolutely nothing beats the old legacy model, While I completely agree that the old Pythons are priceless treasures for dedicated safe queen collectors, that absolutely does not mean that the newer ones are subpar in any practical way. In fact, my personal assessment is quite the opposite. I am going to stand firmly on the controversial fact that these new models are actually built far better than their famous predecessors. For starters, the newly minted Python models are extremely solid pieces of modern engineering. I know that some of you veteran shooters are well aware that the original Pythons were actually notoriously fragile internally, despite how tough and imposing their exterior looked. They were highly prone to wearing out fast under heavy use, and their intricate cylinders kind of lost their precise lockup timing relatively quickly. The incredible news is that all of those glaring mechanical issues are completely corrected in the modern 2020 Colt Python. And that right there is the very reason why it is such a blazing hot purchase these days. I mean, it is essentially the classic Python we all love, but it is just a whole lot better and significantly more durable. I personally think it is a little bit heavier too, which makes it remarkably easy for the gun to effortlessly tame the snappy felt recoil of heavy magnum rounds. The exterior stainless finish has been significantly improved as well. In fact, I actually felt a little bit bad holding the brand new Python at the store because I simply did not want my oily fingerprints to ruin this absolute work of art. From a purely practical standpoint, the sights of this premium revolver have been completely revamped for the modern era. Thanks to its bright orange interchangeable front sight paired seamlessly with an adjustable blacked out rear sight, getting highly accurate rapid sight pictures is no longer just a pipe dream. Now, let me be completely transparent and explicitly clear that I personally find its single action trigger pull just a tiny bit too heavy for my own subjective liking, primarily because I really thought that it was going to be feather light straight out of the factory box. However, it is not exactly a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination, as many of its highly dedicated users would readily attest. After all, the double action and single action trigger pull is undeniably smooth and remarkably crisp without any gritty creep. With its legendary pop culture reputation, combined with drastically improved modern performance and a premium price tag floating right around $1,500, it is pretty overwhelmingly clear why a massive wave of American gunners are eagerly lining up to get their hands on the new Python. Next up, we are rapidly shifting gears away from revolvers and diving straight into the tactical shotgun world. The Beretta 1301 tactical semi-auto shotguns are absolutely the undisputed, heavy-hitting forerunners of the defensive shotgun market in 2024. Of course, stating this fact does not take into account the undeniable reality that classic affordable pump actions like the Mossberg 500, the military-grade Mossberg 590, and the legendary Remington 870 are still very consistent, incredibly high volume sellers nationwide. But this particular year, major gun stores across the country noted a highly significant, unexpected increase in everyday civilians, specifically buying high-end semi-auto shotguns. And among all of those premium options, the lightning-fast Beretta 1301 Tactical is by far the most purchased model on the rack. According to several local gun stores I have personally talked with recently, the 1301 Tactical is most commonly bought for serious, no-nonsense home defense purposes. You can easily find several different custom configurations for the model 1301, but the specific variant rocking the tactical name tag easily gets the most mainstream media attention and buyer interest. There is actually a highly upgraded Mod 2 version widely available for this shotgun today, which introduces subtle ergonomic improvements, so you might also want to actively check that one out if you demand the absolute latest and greatest gear. But honestly, even if you just settle with the standard base tactical model, you are still going to get a massive amount of semi-auto tactical goodness. Multiple compelling data-driven reasons heavily contribute to the massive sweeping popularity of the 1301 Tactical. This 18.7-inch barrel shotgun is remarkably light enough for practically anyone, regardless of stature, to be able to carry it comfortably for extended periods, but at the exact same time, it weighs just sufficiently enough to effectively mitigate its heavy 12-gauge recoil. From an objective design and engineering standpoint, its critical controls are deliberately oversized and perfectly placed. This practically means that even if you are operating the gun purely via muscle memory in the pitch dark while under extreme stress, you simply will not miss a single button or lever. I also deeply appreciate that this gun truly lives up to its elite tactical designation, given the proven fact that its gas system shoots incredibly fast, it comes optics ready directly from the factory, and it features a standard Picatinny rail for seamlessly attaching various essential weapon accessories like blinding flashlights and precision lasers. It is also famously flawlessly reliable enough to shoot all the different defensive buckshot, light birdshot, and heavy slugs you can possibly feed into the tube with absolute ease. It has absolutely no mechanical issues, reliably handling low recoil tactical loads too. The overall ergonomics of the gun are actually extremely good, which is perfectly proven by its highly aggressive polymer texturing and an intelligently elongated handguard that stretches almost entirely throughout the length of the barrel, allowing for modern C-clamp grips. Operating speed loading and dynamically maneuvering the gun are very doable in tight hallways, and I firmly think that is exactly what many modern buyers appreciate the most when protecting their families. With a premium top-tier price tag, usually sitting around $1,700 to $1,800, it is undoubtedly a massive financial investment, but it is an investment in absolute, uncompromising life preservation. Let us smoothly transition over to the highly demanding realm of precision hunting with the beautifully crafted Browning X-Bolt. When it strictly comes to modern bolt-action rifles, there are undoubtedly multiple famous, historically significant names well worth checking out and picking for your next big outdoor hunt. The iconic Remington 700 and the highly precise CZ457 rifles are definitely among those classic legacy bolt guns that simply do not disappoint at all in terms of raw accuracy. But when you critically look at the raw data in terms of sheer sales volume this year, these legendary guns are already being actively superseded by the Browning X-Bolt. Of course, this market revelation actually surprised me a little bit, carefully considering that those specific legacy bolt-action rifles I just mentioned are arguably objectively better than the X-Bolt in certain tight-knit precision shooting circles, regardless of overall out-of-the-box performance or mainstream popularity. So I strongly think there are multiple complex market factors and aggressive marketing strategies at play here. But hey, let me be abundantly clear, I am definitely not saying that the X-Bolt is a bad rifle by any stretch of the wildest imagination. Seriously, I have personally had the distinct pleasure of trying out and shooting both the stainless stalker and the traditional hunter models of this specific rifle, and all of them emphatically proved exactly why Browning is deeply renowned as such a dependable, ultra-high quality manufacturer of true workhorse hunting firearms. Similar to the wildly popular Henry Big Boys we discussed earlier, the X-Bolt is also widely available in many beautifully finished different configurations, varying optimal barrel lengths, and numerous flat shooting caliber chamberings. So it is really entirely up to your personal preference to decide exactly which specific model ticks all of your demanding boxes. The modernized X-Bolt is also leaps and bounds far better than Browning's previous older production rifles. I really need to emphasize this point heavily, especially regarding the massive noticeable improvements in the overall ergonomic design and premium material quality of its composite stock precision barrel and rigid receiver. Even their factory fit and finish has been noticeably, vastly upgraded across the entire board. Furthermore, Browning recently introduced the highly adjustable, incredibly crisp, 3-lever feather trigger system directly into the current X-Bolt lineup. It is absolutely butter smooth and incredibly precise, presenting literally zero issues with bad finger control or annoying trigger over travel. Well, to tell you the absolute truth, I obviously have not shot absolutely all the different X-Bolts out there on the vast market, but I have a very good, confident feeling that they are all universally great on the open field and incredibly accurate on the flat paper range. There are also specific scaled down compact models that your kids and your wife can comfortably use without fatigue, and so far I have absolutely no qualms or hesitations whatsoever about highly recommending the X-Bolt for ethically hunting elk, white-tailed deer, or any similarly sized medium to large game. Perhaps it is exactly these vast, thoughtful improvements in the overall versatility of the X-Bolt that have single-handedly made it such an incredibly popular dominant gun today. With retail prices typically ranging around $1,400 depending on the exact camo pattern and trim, it offers exceptional top-tier value for a serious, dedicated hunter. Finally, we arrive at a massive, completely unexpected underdog story with the Ruger American pistol. So yes, the aggressively priced Ruger American, along with absolutely all of its various market variations, has astonishingly surpassed even the most heavily popular dominant striker-fired polymer pistols currently, ruling the market such as the famous Sig Sauer P365, the modular Sig Sauer P320, and the completely ubiquitous Glock 19. When I first did my deep dive data research for this exact topic, I found out that the American pistols had only achieved very average middle-of-the-pack sales in the previous months or so. It was mysteriously only around May or June of this current year that the raw retail sales of these specific pistols suddenly started to massively peak in the highly competitive, saturated handgun market. I honestly cannot logically deduce exactly what specific socio-economic event or viral trend made American pistols suddenly become such a blazing hot purchase entirely out of nowhere. Nonetheless, I am genuinely happy that they are finally getting some much-deserved, widespread mainstream recognition for their solid engineering. As far as my extensive knowledge goes, the Ruger American is readily available in both easily concealable, compact, and full-size tactical duty models. It primarily features two incredibly popular chamberings, which are the standard 9mm and the heavy-hitting classic 45A CP. However, the general ergonomic features and mechanical layouts of these guns remain completely the same across the board regardless of caliber. One highly notable standout engineering feature of any Ruger American is its innovative pre-tension striker system, which smartly incorporates a very powerful heavy-duty striker spring directly into the internal slide design. So what this specific mechanical thing does is it effectively allows a much more positive and highly powerful primer ignition without the annoying detrimental need for an extremely heavy gritty double action like trigger pull. Another mechanical feature that I absolutely love and deeply appreciate about the American guns is their uniquely designed recoil-reducing barrel cam, as it actively and effectively keeps the sharp felt recoil to an absolute minimum during rapid-fire strings. It is pretty incredibly helpful, especially if you are realistically going to carry and use the significantly snappier 45A CP American variant. And yes, the standard field takedown process for these modern Ruger pistols requires absolutely no trigger pull or any special gunsmithing tools whatsoever, so it vastly simplifies routine, cleaning, maintenance, and quick parts repair. It also massively helps the platform's viability that Ruger smartly made the American platform somewhat modular, which you can easily verify yourself via its clever, highly adaptable wraparound grip system. You can quickly swap out different size grip modules, which in turn seamlessly lets you find the absolute ideal trigger reach without ever compromising your overall grip comfort or structural shooting stance. At a highly accessible, budget-friendly retail price point, often hovering right around $500 to $600, it is genuinely hard to beat the sheer undeniable value this reliable pistol brings to the price. Crowded table. That is going to comprehensively wrap up our deep dive for now. I truly hope this incredibly detailed breakdown gave you some serious, actionable insight into what is actually moving and shaking in the firearms market today, and maybe even helped you figure out your next big purchase. Thanks so much for taking the time to stick around and watch. Before you head out, if you genuinely enjoyed this video and found the breakdown helpful, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a future upload. Just go ahead and actively press all those engagement buttons down there below the video. Those little clicks are completely free for you, but they honestly help the channel grow a massive amount and allow us to confidently keep making these highly in-depth, honest reviews for you guys. Stay sharp out there, always stay safe, and please remember it is never just about taking the shot. It is always about truly mastering the craft and respecting the tool. Until next time, lock and load.